Hello, my name is Katrina Landsman. I am a horticulturalist and landscape designer. Welcome to the lecture portion of the online garden design course. The topic I will be presenting is documenting the site, determining what you have to work with. In this presentation, I will discuss site measurement, site restrictions, and site analysis, which includes analysis of natural and constructed site features. Site measurement is crucial in landscape design so that an accurate drawing can be made for the client. The first type of site measurement is direct measurement. It can be drawn in the elevation or plan view on the designer's notes, but it involves measuring everything from sidewalks, length of the sides of the house, door width, and any other existing site features. It is better to measure more than you need rather than less. Most designers have to revisit a site to take a measurement they forgot or didn't know they needed until they try and draw the base map of the property. Baseline measurement is a fantastic way to measure curves if the client has a curved planting bed or existing path. First, find a baseline. Maybe it's the curb or the edge of the driveway. Using that baseline, take measurements in set increments along the curve you need the dimensions for. The photo above shows measurements taken at 5-foot increments and is a great example of what your sketch may look like after measuring. Triangulation is a very beneficial way to draw accurate locations for existing shrubs or trees. Find 2 points to measure from. It can be the corners of the house or driveway, as long as it is a known, fixed element. It is not a good idea to try and triangulate the location of one tree based on 2 other trees. Designers need to be aware of site restrictions. Depending on the city, neighborhood, and even the homeowners associations, there are limits placed on sites. Municipal site restrictions include site covenants, easements, and right-of-way. The image shows examples of easements and setbacks drawn on a design. Next, I will talk about analyzing a site. Natural site features include topography, drainage patterns, existing vegetation, and climate or microclimate. Constructed features include the house or other structures, circulation patterns, parking needs, utilities, and views. Topography is the lay of the land. Changing topography can be proposed in the landscape plan and add visual interest to the site or solve drainage problems, but it is usually very expensive for the client, and bringing in heavy equipment can compact the soil. Existing topography may be easy to work with or cause a designer to rise to the challenge to make it work. Drainage patterns is another natural site feature. A designer should know where the water moves above and below ground. As mentioned in the previous slide, grading can be done to the natural topography to solve drainage problems when necessary. Moving water away from the house or other structures on the property is very important. Soil type is a natural site feature that affects what types of plants you can propose as a designer, as well as determining the type of drainage a site may have. You can have a nutrient analysis done on the site, as well as a do-it-yourself ribbon test. If you are not familiar with this test, it involves taking soil and smashing it between your forefinger and thumb to see how long of a ribbon you can make. This easy test helps to determine how much clay and sand are in the soil. The longer the ribbon, the more clay is in the soil. The more difficult to make a ribbon, the more sand is in the soil. With existing vegetation, it is important to identify the plants correctly. This can help the designer determine if the plant should be removed because of age, insect pest such as the emerald ash borer, disease such as Dutch elm disease, or if the plant is an invasive species in the area. As designers and horticulturalists, it is best to preserve what you can, even if it makes the design more challenging. Sometimes in a landscape, there are more protected areas that then have a different climate than the surrounding area. Courtyards often create microclimates where trees and shrubs of different zones can then be grown. Consider the temperature range, precipitation, humidity, and wind that could make certain areas a microclimate. It is also important to consider the light patterns of a site, such as sun and shade areas, and the seasonal change of the sun's angle. Now beginning with constructed site features, designers should consider the color of the client's house or other structures, the architectural style, emergency access to basement windows, natural light access into the house, and garages and sheds included on the property. Next, circulation patterns. It is important to consider the width of walkways and access to all parts of the landscape using circulation patterns that make sense. Designers should also consider the type of material to use for paths. For example, brick can be slippery when wet, so that might not be a good option for an elderly client. Spacing of stepping stones or pavers can also control how someone moves through the space. If the stones are spaced far apart, one will move more slowly through the path than if the stones are closer together. Paths can also have an effect on drainage. For example, gravel may allow rainwater to percolate back into the ground, but a solid concrete path will cause water to run off into the adjoining space. Next, the next constructed feature is considering parking needs. You can talk to the client to see what their opinion is on their own parking needs. Maybe they would like to try a new material such as permeable pavers, porous concrete, or stone. The material chosen will also affect drainage off the site. Utilities are very important to consider when designing. Check for power lines, give clients access to utility boxes, and notice height restrictions. Before designing a planting, also consider utilities below ground that can be affected by tree roots. No matter where you live, always use the utility detection services available to you. The last constructed site feature to consider is views. What are the views you cannot control? If it is a busy road or neighbors, you may want to block the view. However, if it is a beneficial view, such as a lake or other scenery in the garden, you can design around them and even feature them. This brings me to the conclusion of this presentation on documenting the site, determining what you have to work with. In summary, this presentation has highlighted the three main ways to take measurements on a site: direct, baseline, and triangulation. Also, how designers must be aware of site restrictions and analyze the natural and constructed site features to shape their design. And lastly, considering how one moves through and views the landscape. I hope you have enjoyed this presentation on documenting the site as part of the Iowa State University Department of Horticulture online garden design course.